What's good, everybody? Thank y'all again for tuning in to another episode of the Dope Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Kelvy, and I know, if you guys have been watching this podcast, all of this has been on video. I think what I'm going to do as well is not only have this on video, but I'm also thinking about putting this on audio as well. So you guys know where the Dope Sessions podcast is as far as the audio version. It's on Apple and Spotify and all other streaming platforms. But as always, I have a guest with me today. There's a lot of things that I can say about this guest. Some in this interview is probably going to be over a lot of people's heads because it's a lot of it's probably going to be a lot of inside stuff, because not only is he just one of the best people on the planet to me, and one of the best artists to me on the planet, but he happens to be my cousin. And I want to chop it up with him. He is an independent artist. Now, he does a various amount of different things, but what he really does is he's an artist, painter, everything. And I just wanted to just get him on here and we just chop it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the artist Jamil Lee. What's going on, cuz?
What's up? What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How you been?
I've been okay. Okay.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, me and Jamil, our family. So it's a lot of stuff we could probably talk about, and it probably will be talked about just a little bit. But I kind of wanted to focus on Jamil as an artist. See, Jamil lives in Kansas City, Missouri, and we used to always go to Kansas City as kids, and my mom and dad, they would stay at one place, and then me and Kareem, well, I'll say my mom, my dad, and my sister would stay probably with my Aunt Dorothy, and then me and my brother Kareem, we would always be at either our Uncle Bob and Aunt Sharon's house, or we would be at Uncle Jordan and Aunt Margaret's house, which is Jamil's parents. And so we used to always goof around and joke around and just have fun together. And it's you would kind of see the way we used to goof around was always you would think that friends would goof off the way that we did, but we were family, and that's one of the things that I appreciated. But the other thing that I also appreciated about Jamil was just from even back then, he was always showing me art. So when did you start? When did the whole flow of you drawing and everything, when did that come about?
You mean when I just started in general, when I started consistently doing it?
When did you start in general?
Probably about 5. That's when I started. It kind of started to, I started kind of falling in love with it at an early age. So, probably around 5-6 years old is when I started really kind of sketching, I guess, or doing these drawings of I was always a big He-Man fan coming up. I still am. I love that. So I would draw my own characters. Mm-hmm. I would just, go with it from there.
Okay. So when did you start taking it? When did you start taking it the most serious and being more consistent with it?
Probably. Well, I think I started with the consistency back in high school. As you know, I was kind of in and out of high school in my early 20s. I was kind of doing music, and I was doing music and art, and then I kind of stopped doing art and I went strictly into music. Mm-hmm. I think probably around 25, I left music alone, and I said I'm gonna strictly do art. And I just really started really getting consistent. And I don't think until I turned, I want to say 32, is when I really started going the route of doing it professionally. So I think I sold my first piece, I think around 32. I might have been 32.
I want to talk about your style. A lot of artists have like different styles, or like a main style that they kind of focus on. So I want you to just kind of talk about your style, where it kind of birthed from, who inspired you as far as like your style, and have the style that you continue to use through all of the art that you do.
I think my style is I think I think it's a combination of things. Like when I first started doing art, it was really comic bookish, and then I had a high school art teacher. She got me out of doing that, and I remember her telling me, she's like, "I'm gonna get you out of this comic book shit." She's like, "You're better than it." So she really forced me to do still lives, and she forced me to do like really more realistic work. So I got a better understanding of the human body, and how and what I could do and what I couldn't do with it, and for it to look real. So I did that, and then I probably say the major influences in my life was I think probably just about every African American artist, visual artist, is probably really into Ernie Barnes. I think Ernie Barnes is our Picasso. I do think he's done some. I'm not saying that everything that he's done is like really great, but if you just look at how he put stuff together, Ernie Barnes has done a excellent job. Y'all don't know who that is, watch Good Times. That's the artist of Good Times art.
Yeah.
The dude that was doing all of JJ's pieces. Justin Bua is a big influence on my artistic stuff. And I would probably say Sam Flores is a big influence on me as well. So those are probably the major three influences that I would have on me.
This quick story right quick, because you kind of brought it up a little bit, but just to kind of this is gonna sound like I'm super bitter, but I'm not. But I'm just going back to kind of like your mindset. So for people that don't know, at one point, me and Jamil were going to join forces to do comic books. And not only that, we were trying to do like our own like comic book company. And at this point in time, I think I was just like, this is when I felt like my ideas and my writing was just like at an all-time high. So like I would send him stuff to be like, hey yo, let's do this. And we was all gung-ho for it. And everybody, I think, seemed like, yo, okay, this is gonna be the move. And it never happened. So I wondered, like, what you said about your teacher saying that you were better than just being a comic book artist. Did that have a play on why we never actually like did the comic book stuff together?
I don't think so. And I'll just be honest. I said, I don't know if you remember, like back when I was in high school, junior high, I would create my own comic books. So
yeah, I do remember. I remember that.
Characters and all that type of stuff. So I just kind of think that it just kind of, when I got out of that, I just got out of it. And it wasn't anything that I guess for me, I don't really desire to dive into that.
Okay.
Like, I really like illustration. I think it's a lot easier to do illustration. I don't like dealing with like I know people in the comic book industry,
mm-hmm.
and I don't like the cutthroatness of that industry. Like, it's
Right.
very cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a few people in that industry, and it's just like, I think you just, like, like, I have stuff that I have to deal with every day. Well, as far as like my mental health is concerned, I just don't have time for that.
Right.
Like, I don't want to have to deal with cutthroatness. So,
right. Yeah.
I'm just trying to, like, do art and sell my prints. That's where I'm at right now.
So I want to ask you, like, about the art scene in Kansas City, Missouri. What is the art scene like in Kansas City, and what is the art scene like for African Americans in Kansas City?
I think the art scene in Kansas City is I mean, it's cool. I think there's a lot of politics behind it, but I think that's in anybody's circle. And I think as far as Black people or African Americans in Kansas City, I think that's going to be strictly dependent on who you talk to.
Okay.
I think that some people in Kansas City that are African American, they're thriving as far as I'm concerned. I think since I've moved back here, I haven't been, like I was before, because before I left Kansas City the first time, I had a gallery that I was running. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And then I moved to Louisville, and I had a whole thing with t-shirts and skateboards and all that. Mm-hmm. And when I moved back here, it's just been a struggle for me. Right. But I wanted to be a parent.
Right.
I didn't have to move back here. Like, I could have went down to Atlanta and went to school and all that type of stuff. But I think it's strictly dependent on who you talk to. I would say for me, as an African American artist in Kansas City, I'm not particularly fond of Kansas City. If you want me to be honest, like, for me, I'm not particularly fond of it.
Okay.
But I've been told by art gallery owners that it's going to take a while for you to be successful because you are unapologetically Black and you just don't give a shit and you ain't willing to dumb down your work. So it's going to take a while. So, it's not going to be an easy road for you to be successful.
Right. Going back to something that you brought up before, and
right.
Before I ask this question, I'm going to kind of give a little story.
Okay.
But it involves what I want you to talk about because you mentioned it before. You had talked about mental health, and I know you've had a struggle with mental health. And I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not just talking about everybody, but just like Black people in general, I think, are suffering from a lot of mental health. But the reason why I want to bring this up and tell the story is because at the time you were really, not saying that you're still not going through it, but there was a time like when you were really in the thick of it, and you came down to Paducah, Kentucky, where I used to live at. For those that don't know, I used to live in Paducah, Kentucky, and while he was going through his mental health, I had just gotten out of a marriage, and I had just gotten my place, and so as you were going through your mental health, I remember like saying to like a couple of friends of mine, like as soon as I got my place, I said, as soon as I get everything set up, you know, I think I'm gonna ask Jamil to come down. And everybody was just like, no, man, I think you just need to be by yourself, bro. This is the time that you can just chill by yourself. But it was just like, I think for some reason, there was part of me that did do that for a little bit. But I think the part of me was just like, nah, I think my cuz needs to be here. You know, I think he just needs a change of scenery, pace, all this other stuff. So what I want to talk about, you know, just mental health, your mental health, how it affects you as a person, how it affects you in your art, how does it affect your art does it affect your art to kind of do different things, or is it something that just kind of just like hinders you to say, I don't want to do this anymore? Like, what is it like for you in your mental health?
Well, I mean, how it affects me as a person because it's a part of me. So, you know, I've dealt with issues with depression and anxiety since my early 20s. It's probably been before that. I just don't remember it. Or I might have been having issues with it and I just didn't know how to recognize those issues at that time.
Right.
So it's been a part of my life for a long time. So it affects me in a lot of different ways, like, you know, and I'm not afraid to say it, like I have bipolar 1. So that means that, hold on for a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So with having bipolar 1, you have a lot of ups and downs. Mm-hmm. So you extreme amounts of ups and downs. You really don't have like a middle ground.
Right.
And a lot of times there's a lot of feelings of worthlessness. There's a lot of times of feeling like a lot of irritation. I don't really deal with anger. I'm not really like, I don't get mad at people. I get mad at me. I push everything back on myself. So it affects me in those ways. So I think it's important to have therapy. And, you know, I think every Black man needs to, like, you need to stop being proud. We all need therapy, like, especially if you a Black male in this country. Yeah. Therapy, like, because you done probably seen some stuff, and you done some stuff that you need to be privy to. Right. And we need that outlet. And therapy don't mean that you're crazy. It's just somebody to talk to that has an unbiased opinion. Right. All it is, like, it's not a family member. It's not your girlfriend. It's not some of y'all. It's not your boyfriend. It's not any of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just an unbiased opinion. It's someone that is going to talk to you unbiased. And you know, and give you, and really, they might give suggestions, but like my therapist, like he gives me some suggestions at times, but most of the times he just asks questions for me to develop the path I need to go. And those are the therapists. That's what they do. They ask the questions, and then you figure it out on your own. And so there's nothing wrong with therapy. Right. As far as it affects my art, I need it. I if I didn't have art to help me deal with this stuff, I don't know where I would be. Like, it relaxes me, it motivates me, it humbles me. Art is all those things to me. So it makes me do different stuff, like when we were talking about, like, me moving into like film. And I don't know if I showed you that film that I did. That little short I did.
The Finding Love one.
Yeah.
I seen it.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I did a pretty good job writing that for somebody that really first time sitting down writing something and actually going out and filming it. I think I did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah.
But that was during, like, I was really going through some hard stuff, and that just kind of helped me get through that. So just writing about issues and drawing and painting is huge to me.
And I think that's a beautiful thing because first of all, I believe that all Black men do need to stop being proud and do seek therapy. I think that art is a tool to help with the issues that you are going through with anybody. Like and I'll be honest, for those that don't know, like if you listen to the album that me and my boy Lenny Virgo did, we're known as the Black Cinema. We dropped ourselves.
Really dope out.
Thank you, man. Like we dropped it April 1st. A lot of those songs are the stuff that I was dealing with, was going through, just didn't know how to express it. So I'm getting the chance to express it in the way that I know how, and that's through just my writing, just me rapping about it. So it's out there. So that's part of my therapy. But I think that 100% art is, to me, and has always been like the foundation for me to express who I am as a person, express my thoughts, whether people agree with what I have to say or people don't agree with what I have to say. It's just me being able to get whatever I need to get out there. And I think that a lot of times, like you said, like Black men especially, we are too proud to talk about our issues. There's a lot of drama and a lot of trauma that has gone on with us. And I think if we don't sit down and talk about it, if we don't sit down and talk to somebody about it, we're going to explode. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, especially with what's going on with COVID-19 and how Black people are getting treated as far as walking around with masks on than white people are being treated. So there's all these things that you have to look at.
I just dealt with that Saturday. I had on a bandana, and some white guy was looking at me like I was getting ready to rob something. I'm just like, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I'm just like, I tell people all the time, you as a Black person, right? And let's just be honest, and I hate to bring this stuff up, but it's the truth. Like, we still dealing. I think everybody deals with the repercussions of slavery. It's just white people deal with it differently, and they deal with it with like not. Because a lot of, and I try to look at it from like some white people's eyes. So a lot of y'all probably, your grandfather, your great grandfather probably owned some slaves. But do you want to come into the realization that, man, my family treated people like property? My family treated people less than they was nothing, beat them, raped them, did all this type of stuff to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so that's one way that people have to deal with that, Right. The other way is the way we had to deal with it. And it's like, I told this person the other day, and he's like, well, he was basically, this is the number one thing that pisses me off. And I'm bringing this all back to therapy. I had this person tell me, you just need to get over it.
That's almost all white people's excuses for everything is you need to get over it.
You know me. So you know that I absolutely went in on this person.
Right.
And I told them, I was like, look, how can a black person get over slavery, especially a black man? Because everything that you want to do as a man is about your legacy. Your legacy. I said, my legacy is tied to slavery. I said, what's my last name? My last name is Lee. My last name is the last name of a fucking general in the a Confederate general.
Mm-hmm.
I said, my kids are tied to that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
When I get married, you know, she's tied to that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my language was taken away from me. My religion was taken away from me. My food culture was taken away from me. My everything that I had taken culturally taken away, and then you were forced to be in another culture. And then when you advanced in that other culture, you were still told that you wasn't good enough.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you were still told today that you're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I get over that?
Right.
Please tell me how.
Right.
Because I would love to get over it. But when your legacy is tied to something, what do you do?
Right.
And that's you know, and I mean, your legacy is tied to, really, if I really want to go down the line, like what your legacy is tied to, over sexualization, the violence, and that's another thing that I hate when people talk about, well, we need to stop killing each other and then they'll respect us. Nigga, they didn't respect you when they brought you here.
Right.
They didn't respect you when they was hanging you from a tree.
Right.
They didn't respect you when they was putting dogs on you and putting fire hoses on you. They didn't respect
I hate when people say that. Like, I've heard people say that too. Like, well, they'll respect us more. I'm like, yeah, but did they respect us when they used to come to our houses, pull us out of our house? They could pull. Look at how old Emmett Till was when he was pulled out of his relative's house in Mississippi to be beaten. This is a teenager.
Right.
So you want to talk about respect? They didn't respect you then. They don't respect you now. And the problem is,
never going to respect.
Right. And the problem is, we're still trying to get the crumbs off the table. We're trying to get respect crumbs. We're not. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, at least, like, if you can just just watch them respect crumbs down, just give me a little respect. It's not gonna happen, bro. And and that irritates me. I hate when it's just like that. But that's the mentality. That is the mentality that Black people have adopted,
right? Because
we have been indoctrinated with their ideologies. So
and another thing that I tell people is this. I was like, dude, like, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, when you sit here and you try to nullify somebody that's talking about this type of stuff, like these people getting killed out here, but at the hands of the cops and at the hands of now, you know, no disrespect to police officers, because I know y'all underpaid and y'all overworked. And really, to be honest with you, like, I'm in barber school right now, and it takes me longer to be a barber than it takes you to be a police officer. So I know you undertrained. So you underpaid, you are overworked and undertrained. And so those are 3 strikes against you. You know what I'm saying? And then you get a lot of police officers, and I've heard this come out of police officers' mouths that are ex-police officers that will sit up and say that there's a lot of people that go into the force just so they can have that badge and that gun, because they wouldn't talk to you that way if they didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't do the stuff they do if they didn't have it. So there's a lot of people that go into that because they want power and they don't know how to handle power. You know what I'm saying? And so all that stuff to the side, I said, when you talk about people that when we talking about racism and stuff that's killing us up, you know, and you want to say, well, you know, we need to stop killing ourselves. One, both those things come out of white supremacy, Black on Black crime, which is a mute narrative, because most crime is interpersonal. White people crimes to white people. Black people commit crimes on black people. That's just the way life is. You know what I'm saying?
See, the reason why they don't talk about that is because it's not sexy enough. White on white crime it's more white on white crime than it is black on black crime, but it's not sexy enough. So of course they gonna mention the sexier things is black on black crime, Chicago, the south side, west side of Chicago, all the stuff that's going on around there. That's the sexy stuff. That's gonna get them the ratings. They're not, you know, that's not what they want to talk about.
Who gives a shit? Like both those things come out of white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Too. When you look at it, you are really nullifying the social, economic, and systematic ills that are going on due to racism in this country. You nullify all that stuff when you say stuff like that. So I say all that to say that we've all been like the black person in this country is the only group of people that will ever be able to cry victim.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only ones. Mm-hmm. Due to that, we are the only group of people, and I'm not saying that we're the only group of people that need therapy, but we more than anybody else need therapy.
Yeah.
So we can try our best to move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So this is gonna be my final question, and I want you to kind of get into this as well. I see a lot of your stuff, a lot of your art on Instagram, and I kind of dubbed some of the stuff that you've been doing the flower series, like giving people their flowers while they're still here. And you've been like doing a lot from like actors to comedians to athletes. So what inspired you to start kind of doing that? I don't know if you call it the flower series, but that's just kind of how I dubbed it. But what made you start doing that?
I just felt like people need to have their due. Like we far often don't give people their due until they are dead, and then we want to talk about how great they are. And I just think that we need to start, you know, especially in our community, we need to start. I guess the only word I can use is glorifying our great ones, you know, because to be honest with you, our great ones are few. It's not the status quo for us to have those great ones. So we need to start, especially when they are community oriented and they doing stuff for us and they helping us out. That's why I think I really came up with that idea. Like, and I didn't really act on it until recently, but I came up with it when after Prince died, and I was just in shock. I was just like, and the bad part about it is, I had the opportunity to go to a Prince concert, and I didn't take it, and I was just like, this when I was living in Louisville, and I said, I'll just catch you next time we go. When the next time. And I would have been one of those rare people that would have got to see Prince, Michael, and Janet perform. Now, I've seen Michael and Janet perform. I've seen the First Day perform. But I would have got to see Prince. And not a lot of people could say that. So, there you go.
Well, man, first of all, I want to thank you for coming through on the podcast and chopping it up with me. Thank you for just opening up, you know, just your heart and your mind to, you know, want to discuss not only your journey in art, but just, you know, mental health and everything. And I really appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me.
Oh, man, no problem, bro. Hey, let everybody know where they can get at you on social and where they can see your art.
I really don't post. I post a lot of foolishness on Facebook now, so that's just my site to be silly on. So, my Instagram page is probably where you can get me. It's just my name. You look up Artist Jamil. It should pull up. It should be either pull up as Artist Jamil Lee or Artist Jamil B Lee. I'll pull up on there. Just look that up, and there's my Instagram.
Oh man, that's what's up. And please do me a favor. Go to Artist Jamil Lee or Artist Jamil B Lee's page. Look at his art. Buy his art. Support Black artists.
Please support.
Support independent artists as well. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast, because I just want to give love and talk to independent artists. I do want to thank you again for chopping it up on the show. I do want to let everybody know, for those that don't know, the Dope Sessions playlist is on Spotify. For all the artists that I've interviewed and am going to interview, I've handpicked 3 songs from every artist and put it on this playlist. The playlist will continue to grow as more artists that want to be interviewed will come on. I will put that on the playlist as well. I'm just already getting a lot of support, and I thank y'all for supporting it. And I also want to end this show with to say rest in peace to Betty Wright, rest in peace to Andre Harrell, and rest in peace to Little Richard. All 3 legendary African Americans have gone on and passed away, and I want to send my prayers and my condolences to the family of Andre Harrell, Little Richard, and Betty Wright. And until then, y'all.
And I want to say one more thing to you before I get off here. All right?
Okay.
Hey, man, I need you to get back into your movie reviews.
Okay.
Like, I need you to start putting that stuff on Instagram.
Okay.
Like once a week or something like that, doing a film review.
Okay.
Because I've been thinking about doing it myself.
Right.
So, because I already know I like movies. So, right. I've been thinking about doing it. So I need you to if we need to tag team that, and I can put it on my page and you put it on yours, we could do that. But I need, or even putting a movie up on Instagram or Facebook Live.
Right.
I don't think there's any rules in behind that. I think you could get away with that. Mm-hmm. So doing something like that and putting it up as a film, and we just have a movie night or something.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
We need to make that happen.
Okay. Yeah, man, most definitely, bro. We'll do that.
All right.
We'll most definitely do that. Yeah, no doubt. Thank y'all again for tuning in. I'm Kelvy. That's Jamil Lee, Artist Jamil Lee. I'll see y'all next time, y'all. Peace. All right.